we're going to look at two really useful functions for Google Sheets, countif and countifs. They're similar, but they're different. So let's consider first of all, there is the basic count function in Google Sheets in which you choose count as the function, you choose your range, you press enter, and it counts the amount of cells that you have highlighted. So that's count. Countif takes it a step further. Let's say here in the grade level of these students, you want to know how many are sixth grade, okay? Well, it's easy to see there. It's a small spreadsheet, but let's pretend like it's huge, okay? So instead of just count, we're going to do count if. Choose the icon for the functions. It's a math function, so we're going to go down to math and choose then count if. Now, it's already filled in equal count if with some parentheses there, okay? Inside the parentheses is the range that you choose as well as the argument, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is simply highlight the cells that we want to be included in the range, and it's those right there, okay? After we highlight the cells, we're going to press the comma key because the range and the argument have to be separated by a comma. So a comma. Now comes the argument. And the important thing to know about the argument is that it has to be surrounded by quotation marks. So quotation mark. We want this just to be our sixth graders, so we're going to say equal 6 and another quotation mark so that our whole formula says equal countif range B2 to B8 equals 6. Notice again that the argument is encased in quotation marks in the front and the back, and the range and the argument are separated by a comma, and that whole section there is surrounded by parentheses, okay? Now we're going to press our enter key, and there you go. The answer is 3. So we're able to specify we just want sixth graders and be able to count them. So I'm sure with your imagination you can think of all kinds of ways you can use that, okay? That's pretty cool. Now let's look at countifs, okay? We'll just go down here and put our countifs down here this time, okay? Under quarter 2. Back to our function icon. Again, back to math. This time we're choosing countifs. The difference between countif and countifs is that whereas countif, you can add an argument, with countifs, you can have multiple arguments, okay? So we're going to have a couple arguments this time, okay? Here we go. Countifs. We're first going to choose our range. We're having the same range as we did last time, all of the grade levels of the students, okay? Then remember we have to have a comma that separates the range from our argument. The argument has to be in quotation marks, so quotation mark equals 6, and that's not a 6, equals 6, and another quotation mark. And then we need another comma to separate the first argument from the second one. So a comma. We're going to put a range here, and this time we're going to do these quarter 2 GPAs, okay? Quarter 2 GPAs. Another comma to separate the range from the argument. And this time, quotation marks because the argument has to be encased in quotation marks. And it's going to be greater than or equal to 3.0. Another quotation mark. So what we're trying to find out here is how many of our sixth graders are basically on the honor roll. How many of our sixth graders have a GPA above 3.0? 3.0 or above. So equals countif, range B2 to B8 equals 6, and range F2 through F8 greater than or equal to 3. Press our enter key. We find out that the number is 2. There are 2 sixth graders on our spreadsheet that have a GPA that is 3.0 or above. And if we want to check that, right here in this row, there's one that's above that 4.0, and there's one that's above the 3.75. The 2 doesn't quite cut it, and so it's correct. So I hope that really becomes useful to you in so many ways. One thing I want you to point out, though, is when you do a countif, remember we highlighted these over here as our range, did an argument, and then we highlighted these over here as our second range and did an argument. And whenever you do one of these countifs's, the size of the range has to be the same. In other words, you can't just do like that many of one and leave a couple off and do all of the next in the second argument and have it work. It won't work. It has to be equal, okay? So just keep that in mind. So countif and countifs. I hope you can use it. Hope it's helpful. See you next time.